What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about how to master your own trading mind. We're going to talk about the ups and the downs. I had a couple of questions come in after I had a couple of trades this past week. People seeing me document and share my wins and my losses. Actually, both of the days that I traded this past week had multiple trades. So there was a lot of action, and I think that's what prompted these questions. So before we get into that, Riley, how you feeling?
Fantabulous.
You saw that our last video, a lot of people, more I think than ever before, watched all the way through, and it was one of our funniest, I almost said it, but our funniest secret words at the end. So if you missed that last video, you got to go back and check that out because a lot of people gave us good feedback on it. What was it called? It was episode 14, but it was the 15 tips to improve your trading. That's where a lot of people were commenting. I got to plug the ASFX trading journals as I always do. I'm going to put the link in the description for you guys to get this. Chris complimented us today. Jack complimented us yesterday. Who else was it? Colby got his yesterday. So people are starting to get their journals now that they got shipped out this past week, and the feedback is awesome. So that's awesome.
It's cool to hold it in real life, like, because all of our, like, the course and everything, it's all digital.
Yeah.
So, like, to hold something, like...
All right, you're going to break the table. Relax. No, but I know what you mean. And that's why, I feel like if we're going to do something, now that our brand is, pretty well established, especially in the Forex space, I feel like it's got to be done well. It can't just be thrown together. So like when Chris complimented me on the paper, it's like I made sure that the paper was good because I wanted people to feel that. So check out the journals if you haven't done so already. I'll put the link in the description. Should I read them the tweet, do you think?
Yeah.
That started this episode, that started the thought process here. So this is from Malcolm. His Twitter handle is @BuyAnyTrade. He said, Austin, can you share your mindset in walking away after back-to-back winning days? I struggle with this, as the more win days in a row, the more I want to keep going on my hit streak, but usually end up giving back big chunks of my wins. So I answered him on Twitter, so some people probably saw my answer. But I felt like we could talk about that because that is a problem for a lot of people, what to do when you consistently are winning trades. It's a good problem, but how do we handle that so you don't get cocky, basically? And then also we can look at the flip side of this, and I figured we both have some experience with the people that we've coached to talk about what to do when you're, instead of having a winning streak, having a losing streak, and how do you get out of that rut? What side do you want to start on, the win side or the losing side?
That's tough because to me there is no side. It's just trade.
No, I know, but I mean, like, do you want to start with like?
I know what you mean. Let's start with the good side.
So you just be saying shit like that sometimes, and it's like,
because that's what I honestly think.
I know, but like, are we gonna talk about what it's?
We'll talk about the winning side first.
Okay, so you're winning consistently, and how do you mentally stay? I guess we'll use the same reference we've been using for a lot of episodes, but that equilibrium state, the boat in the water, right? How do you stay even as you continue to win? Do you have any thoughts on that initially before I go into some of my notes?
I would say just like anything you do in life, well, at least me, you put it behind you. So when that trade is done, when that trade is closed, it's over. It's done. Like, you move on to the next trade. So that's why I was being a little silly, but I was being serious when I say that I don't think you should really look at it as like a win streak or a lose streak, although that may be the hard facts. You have to just really look at it as it's just another trade. It's just another trade to keep your ego at bay whenever you might be on a factual winning streak. Just tell your mind, I'm just taking another trade. Follow your plan. If anything, you should be reading your plan like twice the amount of times, or 3 times, 5 times before you start trading when you're losing, to remind yourself, hey, these are your rules. When you're winning, you mean? Or yeah, sorry, when you're winning. These are your rules. Mm-hmm. You know what's gotten you here. Continue to follow them. Don't try and put on more risks just because you're winning. Because then, like you said, then you're going to give back so many of your profits just because you're starting to get cocky. You're going off the rails.
Where I find that a lot of people this happens with is they're winning because they string together a couple of really good selective trades, but they don't pay attention to the fact of how selective they're being in those trades. And then because they've now won trades that they were being selective in, but they're unaware of their selectivity. Are you following me?
Yep.
Then they end up taking a less probable trade, and that ends up ruining the win streak. Just because they're cocky, feeling good about the wins. You don't even need to be cocky. You can just be feeling good about wins and feeling
riding
like,
the high.
Yeah, because then you feel like you're never wrong, and that's where we run into this issue. Because that's, I feel like, another important point of this is to talk about when you're winning trades, you're going to associate that with you being right. Yeah. But that is not what's happening. Your system mathematically is playing out as it should. If you're trading like we do by rules and tested rules and systems. So if you're in that boat and you're winning, it's not that you're right or wrong. Your system is doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
If you realize that, you're detaching yourself, I think, a little bit more, like you said, from that actual trade, and that's part of it.
Well, yeah.
Good.
Sorry, I was just going to say, when you're on a win streak too, like drop the expectation that that streak is going to continue forever. Do you really think you're going to win 100% of your trades? Like, no, that's where, like, be realistic. Drop the expectation. You know that every once in a while, statistically, you're going to lose a trade. It happens. Be prepared for it. Any trade that you take could result in a winner or a loser.
Yeah.
That's
well said.
The game.
Another part of what I wrote down on the winning side of this was like to really pay attention to the things that, like a shameless plug, but that the journal pulls out of you. So by paying attention to what's working well for you, taking the Mike Bellafiore idea from one good trade, but you can get bigger in that trade, in that setup, and get better at that and better at that and bigger at that. You don't have to do anything else. So journaling on that win streak can really point out to you what trades are you doing best. Because some people have a win streak because they look at it like by their daily P&L. They might take 3, like last week I had a trade or a day of trading where I had a loss, a break even, small profit, and then a really big winner to make the day profitable on NZD CAD. Some people would look at that and they're just looking at it day to day. What's their P&L? Profitable, but they might have losing trades within that day. So I think journaling will really show them, okay, I didn't even need that X, Y, and Z setup, the D1 or that A1. I didn't need that. I could have just traded this setup because that's the one I'm doing well and I won yesterday. You know what I'm saying? You don't get that reflection without journaling. So I think journaling's a big piece on the winning side of it too.
Yeah, because then you can really analyze. I'm not just looking at overall day's profit. I'm individually looking at each trade I had to enter and exit and manage the whole way through.
And I've said it before, but like one of my biggest issues was that somebody just grabbed a journal. Nice. I just got the email, saw it. That's cool. Shout out to Terrence. Thanks, Terrence.
The way you just looked at that, I was like, did a bird fly into the window or something?
It's on the screen up there. But what I was going to say was, I've said this before, but it's important, like how many times I would take trades and not be documenting them. So I couldn't grow. I was like holding myself back because I would look at some of these trades and try to shove them under the rug. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Without going into too much detail on something I've talked about a lot of times before.
Yeah.
So on the winning side of things,
well, we can go on a positive note as well with the winning side.
Yeah.
Also document, what are you doing well?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, what makes those trades winners? Even outside of the trading though, what was your routine like that day when you came to the chart? What did you do beforehand? What was your mind like? Were you in a happier place? Was your personal life happier? Right. All sorts of things that you can pay attention to.
I think what ends up happening, just to tie it back to what I said about being right versus just following the system, is you'll string wins together, and then because you don't realize it, but you're associating those wins with being right, you'll then branch off that potential one trade that you're doing really well and go try something new, and that ends up screwing up some wins too, because now you're thinking that your smartness or your rightness, how smart you are, is being applied to the system, when really, no, you're just comparing system to system. So you don't need to go looking for that other trade or that other whatever setup it is. You could stick to just what's working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the market will quickly destroy your ego of thinking that you're right all the time.
Right. So, good. That's the winning side of things. I think that covers Malcolm's question pretty well. Talk a little bit on the losing side of things, because I think there's more situations than we realize where people are running into a rut personally, even not even in their trading, and then that can dig them down to a point where they question even trading or even doing whatever it is that they're doing. There's a lot that we can talk about here when it comes to how to dig yourself out of a rut, so to speak. For me, I feel like there's multiple situations in my life where I've had to dig myself out of a rut. Lately, not too many. Very grateful for that. Is there anything in your life that you think back on and you're like, imagine like a comparable situation would be like 8 trading losses in a row. How do you bounce back? Is there anything outside of your trading life that you can relate that to? And how you bounce back?
It's very tough to give one specific answer of that. I kind of would just say it's my entire childhood and just how I was raised. I bounced back from that.
Yeah.
You know, like if you, and it's nothing against my parents at all. Love them to death. They did the best they could. But statistically, if you look at the way that I grew up, you know, no help at all going through college. You know, most kids wouldn't go to college if they had to do it all on their own. So with that, I look at kind of setback as me having to take out so many student loans for college and then be in school full time and working 3 jobs at once just to keep myself afloat while also paying my loans at the same time. So although some people may not really look at that as a loss, it's definitely a rut that you have to find yourself, because I wanted to get out of that. I didn't want to stay in that forever. I could feel how it was going to cripple my life away if I did. So the way that I got myself out of that was I really started just asking myself, what is it that I want? And got so clear with that. That way, when I started getting those things, I could accept it, but still continue to ask myself, how can I make this, I don't want to say better, but how can I continue to elevate this to get me further and further away from the rut? So to relate that back to trading, what I might do is find small little habits that you can do to maybe decrease your chance of losses, but increase your overall well-being elsewhere. That way they will kind of have a trickle effect. So, okay, you might be in a hole of 8 losses, but you made back some money selling something on the side, whatever you have to do, and then keeping that behind you, but also continuing to move forward. Do you feel like what I'm saying?
Yeah. My thought on it would be like, when you are in a rut, whether it's childhood or, for me, I feel like there's just been some obstacles. Like one of them, smaller one, would be like when I got really sick. Just there's certain things in your life where I feel like you have to turn within. Mm-hmm. So with the trading, when you're in a rut with your trading losses, like to get to your point of, how did you say it? You had to get clear on what you wanted.
Yeah.
That takes like a turn within. You have to talk to yourself. So in trading, when you're in a rut, I think review of your system can help you be confident in that self-talk, in that turn inward to look for that answer. Like, you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of the problem where traders are consistently losing, it isn't so much that they're even trying different strategies. I mean, that is definitely a piece of it, but a part of it is that they're not using something that's actually tested and proven to work. So in the situation of stringing losses, I think you have to be like more aware of, am I just gambling? Am I just throwing my money around because I'm emotional? Or am I actually trying to prove a system right? Or, trade something that's been tested and proven right even. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was getting, like, in a weird way of how I went about explaining that. But, like, it's small changes. Like, you can't expect from being in a rut to just one night waking up and it's just a complete 180 all of a sudden. You're super profitable now. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't expect such a drastic change. You really have to small details. What small refinements can I make in my trading process to turn this thing around?
Right.
It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be some magical answer. It really is, like I said, baby steps. Like, it takes an inch to make a mile. Going inwards, figuring out what it is you actually want, reviewing your trading plan, reviewing all of your losing trades.
If you even have one.
Did you need to be in those trades?
Right.
Like you said, if you even have
a trading plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compare the two. Did you need to be in those trades? Did you not? Just going back and doing that is a small step forward.
Do you think more traders lose money because they don't have a system, or more traders lose money because they have a system but can't follow it properly?
Well, when you say the first thing, I initially thought of most traders probably think they have a system, but what does that actually look like? Some people's system might just be in their heads.
Or they're just saying support and resistance is my system.
Yeah, like when you say system, I think you need to have a very detailed
definition of what that, we should define that. Yeah.
Yes, like it should be
entry signals, exit signals,
risk management,
all of that should be written, like, clearly defined. It should be something you can explain to people. It's not just something where you see it on a chart and you know it. It's not like that. It has to be predefined, because that's what you can test then. That's the point, right?
So maybe I would answer that it is mainly that, because then it's like,
you
if
think
you
people
have
lack the clear definition of what a system is?
Yeah, because if you have a system, I feel like it's a lot harder to not follow it, because you put time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into that thing. It's printed out. It's on your desk. It's right in front of you with not the answer, but the answer to profitability. But if you just follow that.
Right, but that's where all the issues are, I feel like. I think that there's a nice chunk of people that have some type of entry signal, because I'm not the only one talking about it, I think. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's other people out there that are talking about that you need a trigger, you need risk management, you need stops. So
I just feel like it's not detailed for people. I feel like they think overall of, like, oh, I see a pennant form, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's coming off of a bottom, like whatever. Like
Peter Brandt tweeted yesterday, he was like, the symmetrical triangle is the least profitable technical pattern, but the most popular to draw. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So maybe you're saying the definition of what like a system is and what goes into a proper trading business is not clear to most people, and that's why they're losing money, and that's why they might be in that rut of losses. So I feel like maybe to dig out, it's not as simple as do markups, study your system, because like you're saying, because that's what my notes were, but you're saying people don't even sometimes know what a system is, and that's a very good point.
Yeah. I feel like your system shouldn't, I mean, granted, in a way it always will, but that's because the market's always changing, but your system really shouldn't have holes in it. There shouldn't.
What would be a hole?
For instance, if you're in a B setup and you're already at 2R and your system's not telling you if you should be moving your stop loss, if you should be piecing out, if it doesn't tell you those things, it's not complete. Like you should know what you're doing at every step of the
risk
way.
Management.
Yeah, like it's lacking details. It's missing pieces of the puzzle.
Trade management, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely. Like
That's a good
you
point.
should clearly
Y'all are listening.
know.
That's very true.
Like
Very good point.
you should clearly know what you're doing when you're in a trade. Like when you play a board game, it has clear instructions. In Uno, you get the +2, you pick up 2 cards. Like you know what you're doing, and every step of the way, your trading plan should be no different.
Do you find that more people dig themselves into that rut when you've had the coaching sessions and stuff because they're just attached to the dollars and they're staring at like, oh, I lost 200 or I lost 2,000 or oh, I lost another 4,000 today. Oh, now I'm down 8,000. I lost another 4. Now I'm down 15. What? Now I'm 20, 30 down?
Yeah.
They're just looking at the money the whole time. They're like falling down a hole and staring at the money as they fall down further and further from the hole.
And every single one of those people, you know what I tell them?
It's not funny.
It's not funny, but we have to find humor in our life some ways. Every single one of those people, I've told them, journal your emotions. Notice when you're feeling that.
I love when you do that eye flutter.
Like a dope.
Go ahead.
Like notice when you're feeling those urges of greed and how that makes you react, because your emotions then come out of you as physical actions. So it's just bring awareness to that. That way you can stop clicking the button and losing more money when you don't even know what you're doing. Like just pause, take a step back. You're going to save money by not doing anything and getting your bearings right, then continuously keep clicking. Like it doesn't make sense.
But I think that comes from just thinking that, well, it's wanting to make money, of course.
Yeah.
But
that could have so many pressures on the out. Like there could be so many reasons why people are feeling that pressure of needing to make money.
All right. So before we fall, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. To the point of the back-to-back losses and digging out, now that maybe we've brought some clarity to what a system is, do you think that consistent losses should warrant checking your system? People ask me that all the time.
So I think that depends.
Like if I have 8 losses in a row, is my system wrong?
Well, it depends on how detailed you are with everything. Okay. So if you have 8 losses
in a row,
all 8 of those losses according to plan, where if you were to print it out, put it on paper, compare your trade side by side to your trading plan, was that a trade you should have been in according to your plan? Right. If all 8 of those trades were a yes, you should have been in them exactly the way you were according to your trading plan.
Then you're saying stay course.
No, you might need to revise something then, because that's 8 losses in a row and you did follow everything on your plan.
Right.
Maybe the market structure is changing.
Would you ever say stay, even if with 8 losses in a row, stay course if you have enough detail? I don't remember the last time I lost 8 trades in a row.
It depends on the conditions of the market. It's like, were those 8 trades in a row all in one day on election day?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's a good point.
It really depends on the economy. What else is going on? What was the time frame of those 8 losses? Was it 8 losses in a month in a row? Okay, at that point, I might look over your system, because that's a whole month of the market doing whatever it does, and you're still losing according to your plan. You know, like you're following your plan and you're still losing. If it's within like a couple day period, I don't know that I would go back and revise your plan, because it could just be the market doing what the market does.
I agree with that.
So it's really kind of...
How do expectations create that? So is the expectation that I'm going to make money trading what is that expectation what causes me to stare at the money? And then by staring at the money, when I lose a couple of trades in a row, then I dig myself deeper and it's a lot harder to come out. So was it rooted in the expectation of me coming to trading and being right and I'm going to make money more times than not? Even without any system, without a system, is it just that expectation alone that can ruin you? Because that can then lead to what I just said, digging into the rut.
I think that it could be so situational depending on the person, because it could just be a beginner really not knowing what they're doing and just taking multiple trades, you know?
But there is an expectation. The beginner comes in expecting something.
Yes, but you can't say that
You're saying
they're
that
all expecting necessarily to make money. They could be going into it just expecting to learn something and not caring about the outcome.
But if they come in throwing trades, their expectation could just be way out of reality. That's what it could be, is that their expectation in
we
that
could just
situation,
say it's unrealistic, whatever the
Yeah.
expectation might be.
Got it. So is it unrealistic then to expect to make money?
Is it in trading?
Yeah.
I don't want to say that that's a yes or no question, because when you're trading, like, what is the definition of trade? Like, well, it could be something that's equal, but in this case, you're trading, like, in this type of, like, for instance, I could trade you my phone for your phone. You know, that would be an equal trade. They're the same exact phone. But when you're a day trader, you don't want equal exchanges like that. You want to trade for
a gain.
Right, for a gain.
Where risk is in my favor.
Yes, that's an expectation, because you could have a loss, but it's not... I don't know, because it's not like necessarily an unrealistic expectation, because that's why you do it, for the gains. You know?
Yeah.
Would it be unrealistic to think that you're going to win every single trade? Yes.
That's fair to say.
You know what I mean?
Both of those statements would be true.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's a yes and a no question.
I think that if you were to ask me...
Okay, wait, let's back up. Let me ask you. How'd you word it again? What was the exact question?
Is it fair to expect to make money when you're trading?
Okay. Is it fair to expect money when you're trading?
Yeah, I think so. But it's about being realistic with the amount of money that you expect to make, which comes back to your risk percentages and how much you're actually putting per trade and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's just rooted in a lot of unrealistic expectations. You have more people than not come into trading. Again, this was the same thing as me. You come in with $100 or $1,000 and you're looking to flip it because you think that that's what trading can do. Again, an expectation. That expectation can lead you into a rut. So if you come into it with realistic expectations, I don't think you can ever really be dug into that rut, because you'll never expect to win all of your trades, which would hopefully keep you in line with following the rules in your system. And if your system is profitable, like I just said, I don't remember the last time I lost 8 trades in a row, even C setups. Like, you're going to win something and your stop's going to get locked. You're not going to lose 8 in a row. So if you have some type of system, I think you're going to be able to find that balance to keep you out of the losing streak. You'll still take losses, of course, but not 8 losses in a row, 5 losses in a row. But it'd also keep you kind of even keeled when you're winning 5, 6, 7 trades in a row too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I feel like if somebody were...
So it's grounded in the system. That's the answer.
Yeah. And I feel like if somebody were like having 8 losses in a row, to where maybe the answer whenever we did the comparison is that not all of their trades were according to plan, you know? Maybe, and that was because of greed. You know, they just needed to push the button. It's like, set up a demo account. That way you can scratch that itch on something to where you are still trading, but it's not actually affecting your gains, you know, your real capital over here. Only let your plan, what those trades are, be on that account. If you want to trade and scratch your itch and do whatever, test a new...
Fake money.
Yeah, go on a demo account. Like, who cares?
Right. Good points. You got any other questions for me? We're coming up on 30 minutes. It's a good episode.
Yeah. Do you want to keep going, or?
I don't know. Do you have any questions for me? Do you think we can keep it rolling? Since we're this far in, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys listening this far through. Do you have anything else for me? I feel like you didn't ask me many questions today.
I know. Well, that's because we were just talking, and then you ask questions, and I answer, and then you just ask more.
Well, I asked questions because you weren't asking me questions.
That's because I was answering your questions. Let's end it here. We can do another one with our other idea that we said.
You heard it, folks. Thank you for being here, everybody. We appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed. Give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. and we'll see you in the next video.
Adios.